All right, so I'm here with Jacob, the owner of Main Street Games. Why don't you go ahead and tell them what you do?
I own Main Street Games. That is true. I show up every day and help people have fun. That's my passion. That's what I try to do here at Main Street Games is help people have fun through video games, board games, card games, all kinds of different shenanigans. And I'm really excited to be here with MrManPacster for the first time, recording our first video together about
the Nintendo Switch. Very interesting console. You may hear some noise in the background. That's fine. It's his adorable little daughter. Very, very cute. So the Nintendo Switch, very interesting console. I want to start with you. What do you think about this thing? Because I'm kind of back and forth about it.
Yeah, I'm excited. Coming from a game store owner's point of view, a lot of the discs I've been having issues with personally. Sometimes they don't work quite as well if they get scratched or whatnot. And so one of the key factors that I'm excited about is the cartridge-based design that they've decided to go back to. So that, just on the store side of things, is I'm excited about. I'm also excited that the thing looks extremely versatile. I mean, it looks like it's not just one or the other, it's both and, So you can play at home on the big screen and then just switch it, and it just switches right into that handheld console, and that's a really cool deal to me.
I think that's really cool, maybe almost to a fault, though, because I feel like maybe Nintendo's trying to concentrate a little too much on something where, especially when it comes to the control schemes, because you got this controller that can do so many different things. You can have it kind of like the Wii thing with the one piece in each hand, and then you got this little adapter thing that can make it into this weird looking almost Xbox type controller thing.
Right.
And my only problem with that is you have the thumbsticks are kind of offset like the 360 controller, which if you put it on the adapter is just fine. But if you're doing it, I think the trailer for it maybe went a little too far, playing this thing in rooftop parties and stuff like that, where I think
that's how it always goes.
the price tag that I think we're going to be paying for this thing is not something you're going to want to take to a rooftop party, maybe. But
yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I know tablet technology has come down quite a bit, and so the price is, I'm really curious what the price is going to be.
Me too. I don't even want to guess on that.
No,
I'd probably be way off. But
yeah, I've got no idea. Especially until we know more about what it can do. It's not. It just doesn't make sense to try it to guess the price. But you might have a point where the joysticks being offset a little bit might make it a little bit more difficult to play like we're used to with the Wii controllers.
I think it's more of a problem just because with how portable it is.
Yeah.
Because depending on how big it is, you have, let's say you're playing it like Wii style with one in each hand.
Right.
The left side seems fine because the thumbstick's on top and the buttons should be pretty easy to press on the bottom. And if you have to get the bumper on the top, you're fine.
Right.
But on the other one where the joystick is on the bottom, trying to play a game like Zelda where you have to move around and control the camera could be a little odd with the other thumbstick. But if you always use the adapter to make it like one controller to look like the Xbox controller, I think it'll be fine. It's just having it like two sentient like parts in your hand is just kind of would be weird unless the joysticks are evened up.
Yeah, and I wonder if they'll have different variations of those, portions that you can snap on the controller portion, because they did show it working with a Pro Controller-esque.
Yeah, they did say they were going to have a Pro Controller.
A lot of the problems could be solved just by that. If you've got your other controller, you could have your tablet set up, ignore the the snap-on controllers and just use the Pro Controller. You're still talking about the most mobile gaming device outside of your mobile phone. So looking at PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, if you're looking for that mobility, you're looking for that gathering on rooftops or in the middle of basketball games to
airplane.
Right, exactly. To play games, this is going to be the best option.
Which good for them on including that built-in kickstand on it. I'll give them some credit for that.
Yeah, for sure.
I do think that the cartridge-based thing is good again. I like that they're going back to that. I do know that Nintendo combined their console and their handheld divisions of their company under one roof, I believe before Iwata died, maybe back in 2013. So I'm wondering if they're trying to completely stop the whole Nintendo 3DS thing.
It's. I think personally, it would be wise of them to do away with the 3DS. Now, do I think that they should get rid of their handheld device altogether? No. I think they should cater a device like the 2DS or something similar to the 2DS, where it's more designed for kids or younger people, so you're not as afraid of them breaking it. I mean, the 3DS is a $200 console, so.
And that does make sense because a large portion of the portable game market is kids.
Yeah.
A lot of kids do have a 3DS or a 2DS, and they're
Right.
very well-built machines. I think it would probably do them some good to make a companion to the Switch, like
Right.
a portable version of it.
Yeah.
Especially if they're trying to, as long as the portable version is about as powerful as the Switch, so you can just take your Switch games, put it in another.
Yeah.
Because if the Switch doesn't have a good battery life, portable-wise,
Right.
having that to replace the 3DS would be pointless.
Yeah, and it would be, and especially if you're talking about the younger demographic, the potential for lost pieces, the potential to lose the controllers or drop it and break it, in my opinion, is going to be too high a risk for the majority of the people out there. So having a secondary console, like you said, that will play the cartridge games, the same games, but on a different device, maybe at a lower texture resolution, so you've got your longer battery life, or you bulk it up a little bit so it's on a little screen, a 2-inch by 4-inch screen instead of that. It looked to me like it was like a 5x7 almost.
Yeah, it looked like it was a pretty big, almost pretty much like a tablet.
Yeah,
it looked pretty big.
Yeah, absolutely. So. I don't think they should do away with it completely. I think they should modify it so that the two continue to work together instead of against each other.
Now, I'm also worried about tech-wise in this thing, because we already know Nintendo's not trying to compete with PS4, Xbox One, but they need to compete to a point.
Right.
Not with Xbox and PlayStation, but they need to compete with just video games in general.
Right.
We're expecting video games to be at 1080p, 60 frames per second, at least for a console now.
Yeah. I mean, the key is the third party, right? And so if you make a console that's inferior to a point where the third party support has to work so much harder to develop games for it, like they encountered with the Wii U. It was such a unique concept and so much outside of the normal realm, that the third parties just decided it wasn't worth their time. That followed by terrible sales. Kind of the two go hand in hand. And so seeing in their trailer that they had, Skyrim playing, at least what looked to be Skyrim.
Well, they haven't confirmed it yet. That's on their list of games that might be on there, or what the Switch is capable of handling,
Right.
which is good. If it's able to handle Skyrim Remastered, it should be able to do most of anything else out there.
Yeah. So that's the key, I think. If they can get it so that the console is easy enough and powerful enough to work with the majority of third-party support, that's where it's going to see its success. It's not the first-party stuff is what separates the consoles, but it's the third-party that's really where they're making that consistent income stream, off of us consumers buying the game. So. With Nintendo's pedigree and their IP, seeing that new Mario game, that looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Looks like
it looked really cool. Like one shot I saw, it looked like they're almost like a Western type town, and it looked really weird, but
so
different from Mario.
Right, exactly. And with their first party support, like Mario, and then the new Zelda, if they can capture some of that third party back, I think it's going to be a great console.
Which they are using an NVIDIA Tegra chip in this thing, so it should be a lot easier to develop for.
Yeah.
And since the Wii U is just so hard to develop for, I think Project Cars has been trying to get a Wii U port over, but it hasn't been working. But with this NVIDIA chip, supposed to support Unreal Engine 4, which is accessible for even indie developers to get a hold of now.
Right.
And it's becoming a lot easier for indie developers to make games, which Microsoft making it hard to do with the Wii U turned off way too many people.
Right.
Now, as far as spec-wise on this thing, I gotta be surprised if it can do Skyrim remastered on a little portable device. Microsoft or Nintendo's making one hell of a handheld console.
Yeah.
It'll be a technical feat because, granted, while the technology is there, it's always been, handheld games have been relatively small. The Vita, the 3DS, they're small. They're small consoles. This thing is a little bit bigger, but they're putting a lot of technology and just power behind this thing. Even if the battery is not, even if the battery life isn't that huge, they still have to put all that in the handheld console because the dock thing for it to put it on your TV, I don't think that's going to do anything spec-wise for the games. I think it's just going to project the tablet to the TV, which is, if that's the case, that Switch dock thing was pretty big.
Yeah.
So I wonder if I almost think it could add some extra processing.
And if it does, I think all it'll be is a resolution amplifier for the Switch. I don't necessarily think it would have to handle the gameplay necessarily, just a resolution amplifier.
Which could be a cost-saving measure if they lower the resolution on the tablet, but then just have the dock up the resolution and to fit for your TV.
Yeah.
Then maybe that could help Microsoft bring the price down a little bit and make it more accessible for mass market.
Well, and the other thing you got to keep in mind is you look at our cell phones nowadays, and our cell phones are so powerful anymore that if you took the processing power of your cell phone and dedicated everything towards gaming, that's one hell of a gaming device. That thing is going to be a monster. And so the chips are getting so small, and they're able to miniaturize the potential for power. Mm-hmm. And with the tablet, that's what's so cool about Nintendo is that they're capturing that, and they're going back to their old school roots, right? They're making one standard console. Who really the only thing that's unique about it, like they've done in the past, is the controller, but it's not really that unique. So they're just combining the two concepts, the Wii U with removable remotes, and it's just the Wii U. So it's, I don't know, I'm losing track here because of my daughter. I do apologize, but I think it would be smart for them to have more powerful. To have extra power through the dock. I don't necessarily think it's necessary, and I'm really excited to see what a tablet dedicated to gaming can do. One other thing that we don't know is whether or not the screen is touch. If the screen is not a touch screen, then that's a ton of extra space that they'll have to add in that extra processing power on the go, So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see.
Which you did raise a good point. If it's only just a gaming machine, I'm sure it'll probably have streaming services, Netflix, all that on it. That's not going to take any power on the Switch's part.
Right.
But if it's just dedicated to gaming and nothing else, that power is going to be used very effectively.
Right.
Because your PlayStation 4, Xbox, they have to balance a lot of things, being not just a gaming console, but a media console.
Right.
Playing DVDs, Blu-rays. Any sort of entertainment.
Right.
So Nintendo has a lot of time to really concentrate on just the gaming of it. They're not so concerned with the streaming stuff.
Right.
Although it seems like they almost should be, considering they've been thinking about, they moved into the mobile market on phones. Apparently they have some sort of shows in development for something.
Right.
So, granted, if they ever made that Zelda show, I'd watch the hell out of that on Netflix.
That's it. Well, and that's part of it too. Is the writing's kind of on the wall. They tested out their ability to develop for mobile devices, and through that whole process, I'm sure it was them learning some of the little tweaks and things they'll have to do to program on those sorts of chipsets. And so, to me, those are their test dummies. Those are the guinea pigs to see what slight differences they're going to have to make to develop for mobile gaming. Because really, if we're going to consider this thing a tablet, which I personally do, I think it shouldn't be called the Nintendo Switch. It's kind of an interesting concept, not a great name. I think it should be just the Nintendo tablet. Just because that's really what it is.
I can see why they did that, because even still, people buying it, I think most people are going to use it on their TV.
Yeah.
I don't think, especially depending on the price point of this thing, I don't think it's going to be something people are really going to want to take out and
Right.
on rooftop parties and on a plane, and even though it'd probably be very good for that,
Yeah.
it's just something that I would be very concerned about.
And the thing that I personally like about it, because I'm a big Vita fan. I love the PlayStation Vita.
Great console.
It's
love
incredible. But the reason why I'm more intrigued by this than the PlayStation Vita is because that PlayStation Vita handheld gets a little cumbersome to hold every now and then. It gets a little heavy in your hands. Whereas this Nintendo Switch, you don't have to hold the screen, just the controllers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's got me a little excited. I can have that portable, easy, fun experience without the awkwardness of having a handheld console. I've passed the DS generations because I did not like those consoles in the way that they felt. A lot of people do. It doesn't bother a whole lot of people, but having controllers in my hands as opposed to the device in my hand works much better for me, and that's why one of the reasons why I'm super excited about it. And the ability to take my gaming on the go. I being a small business owner, I just opened up a few months ago, and I don't have a whole lot of time to game anymore. So being able to sit at home for a few minutes and start up a game on the Switch, picking it up and taking it with me, and when I've got a few minutes in between helping customers or stocking whatever, if I could play a few minutes on that Nintendo Switch, that's a cool deal for me, and it could sit right next to my computer, and be out of sight.
I think since Nintendo will be going a more portable way with this thing, I think they will help make games that are more easy to pick up for a few minutes, put down. Instead, where you see on Xbox One, PS4, you have a lot of games where you can't really just play them for a few minutes. You got
you got a 7-hour Destiny raid.
you have to have a lot of time on your hands.
Yep, for sure.
So actually, let's go ahead and take a look at the list of developers already making games for this thing. According to Microsoft, so we got 505 Games. I believe they mainly publish a lot of smaller games.
Right.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of any, but they publish a lot of indie games. I think Shovel Knight may have been one of them. They help indie developers a lot.
Right.
Activision, Call of Duty,
right.
Destiny, Singularity, which I wish they'd make a Singularity too. Atlas, fantastic company. I love Atlas.
Yeah.
That opens up the opportunity for Persona 5
Right.
to be on the Switch, which would be amazing. Bandai Namco. I don't know a lot of stuff that they publish or that they develop, but they've published the Dark Souls series.
Yeah. They kind of. I feel like Bandai's in a bit of a transition season right now.
Yeah, seems like lately they've been doing a lot of smaller titles.
Yeah.
They haven't been a lot of publishing, not a lot of developing themselves.
Right.
Bethesda, love Bethesda.
The juggernaut. If you get Bethesda on your side,
that's
in
looking
incredible
good.
shape. Yeah.
That's looking really good. That's starting to get faith back in the industry. Bethesda, Skyrim, Fallout, Doom, Quake.
Yeah, exactly.
The Evil Within, which actually that developer's on here too. Grasshopper Manufacturer, they made The Evil Within. Capcom, another good sign.
Yeah.
Huge Japanese company. Well, was huge.
They're rebuilding.
they're getting better. Street Fighter, all that type of stuff. Codemasters, I think they do Dirt.
Yeah,
the racing
I
series
believe.
Dirt.
Well, was Codemasters? Yeah,
Some racing game.
believe so.
Dirt or Grid or one of them.
I thought Codemasters was great.
Okay, that could be.
So maybe that's what it was.
EA, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I'm surprised to see because EA said they were going to develop for the Wii U, then they backed down to that.
Well, and that's the other thing is some of these developers will say right now, we're on it, we're there for them, we're going to develop for them, but they could always bail at any time. There's this. From what we know, there's no necessarily concrete contracts that they've written to guarantee games. Now, seeing what we assume to be Skyrim running on the Switch is very promising because that means that there's already a relationship with Bethesda happening currently.
Because Bethesda had to give them give them permission just to even use that footage.
Even use the footage, yeah. So I'm very encouraged by it. I think that the ability of the cartridges a solid state drive is the way to go, and a cartridge is just a solid state drive practically. So the potential there, I feel like, is so vast and so great. Your download speeds are going to be so much faster. Your upload speeds will be so much. I mean, everything about that is just much snappier, much faster. Now, can you hold as much information? No, not necessarily. I mean, that's what I'm going to be curious to see is as the games get larger. I mean, the new, what was it, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 took up like 67 gigabytes of my memory on my PlayStation 4.
It was...
It's huge, and depending on what size the games come on, or what style of cartridge they make, whether it's a standard SD card or a universal customized Nintendo card or cartridge, will really depend on what the third-party developers are capable of doing.
Well, I think Nintendo will be smart about that, because you look at Black Ops, it's like 60 gigs. Even if you buy the disc, only so much data will be on that disc. Like I think with Fallout, it's like 5 gigabytes of data was on the disc.
Right.
The rest was download.
Right.
With the cartridge, I think it'll probably be the opposite with Nintendo, where the core game data will be on the cartridge, and then any updates, patches, or whatever will all be download stuff. So that'll kind of help. I think that'll kind of help keep everything, all the data again on a cartridge instead of everything being downloaded, taking out the huge, all your space on your hard drive within just a matter of just a few games.
Right. Yeah. And then again, that's part of it is with these PlayStation 4 and Xbox One games lately, you've got to sit there and download for hours and hours and hours. And then you get patches and updates and whatnot, and you've got to download for another few hours. With this Nintendo Switch, it's very possible that those will happen so much faster because of the nature of the games. Like you're saying, the majority of the game will be already in the cartridge as opposed to in the system. And I can't harken enough about the solid state nature.
Yeah.
My guess is that the internal hard drive of the console is going to be solid state.
That's what I would think. If they did anything less than that now,
exactly.
It'd be kind of ridiculous.
Exactly. So I don't know. I'm really excited to see what it ends up coming up with in terms of the specs, what the internals are made of, and then I'm really excited to see what kind of things the developers can do to bring Nintendo back to where they should be.
That's one thing I'm very curious. I want to see the exclusives more than anything, because that's going to show what the console can do. Because we can have all the third-party games and everything we want, but it's the exclusives that are going to show what the console can really do.
Right.
Like another developer on here, I'm really excited for, Platinum Games.
Right.
They did the excellent Bayonetta 2 on there, and that was Platinum Games is a private company, and they can make games for whoever they want.
Right.
And seeing them go over the Wii U, making Bayonetta 2. They did a fantastic job with that, and I think it pretty much stressed the Wii U as far as it could, because there was just so much action going on the screen. Sure. I think that will be the best showcase for how strong this Switch will be.
Yeah, and the developers over there, we got to give them credit, because Mario Kart 8 is beautiful,
gorgeous.
I mean, it's incredible what they were able to accomplish with the Wii U. I mean, that game rivals many PS4 and many Xbox One games with just the way it looks, and the gameplay is spot on. I mean, as Nintendo's gameplay always is. So if they have more processing power in the Switch than what they've got in the Wii U currently, then I can imagine that the first party support is going to be just like anything that the first party for Xbox or PlayStation can accomplish on their consoles. Maybe not Naughty Dog, because they're wizards over there. I mean, they do some crazy stuff.
Naughty gods.
That's it. That's it. But with the Nintendo, those guys know how to get the most out of the very little hardware, because they've been doing it since the beginning.
But I think their idea for the Game Boy was to make a portable handheld with what they called withering tech at the time.
Right.
They had pretty much an NES, which was already years old at that point, in a Game Boy and just taking it for the portable market.
Right.
Which was smart.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I feel like that's where they got left behind. And why I'm really excited to see this thing is because it's where they should have gone right after the Wii, in my opinion. Instead of making the Wii U, they should have gone straight to this thing, because it's taking relatively old technology, which is the tablet style, but bumping it up a little bit in its power, adding a few little extra controllers so that you can play in multiple different ways. Being able to play split screen on this thing is incredible to me.
Yeah.
Being able to system link them across the table is incredible to me.
I like that Nintendo has kept the local multiplayer. So how they did with the DS and 3DS.
Right.
If there's someone in the same room with you with 3DS,
you can play.
You can just play local multiplayer.
Right. It's incredible. So I don't know. I'm really excited. I can't wait to get mine. I know it'll be the first Nintendo console I've bought in years and years and years. So I'm very, very excited to see what it can do and just have fun with it. You know.
It's gonna be, especially with the list of developers that got here.
Yeah.
They said From Software, Dark Souls,
Yep.
which could bring Dark Souls to
which would be
the
awesome.
Switch.
Yeah.
And God knows what exclusive they could be developing because they had a relationship with Sony, made Bloodborne.
Right.
Fantastic game. They even got the GameStop publishing company on here.
Yep.
Which they're off to a good start. They did the Deep Sea that I believe Insomniac Games developed.
Yep.
And they developed Ratchet and Clank and
Yep.
a lot of Resistance.
Yep.
A lot of PlayStation exclusives.
God, I'd love another Resistance.
I would too. I don't blame them for wanting to take a break from that.
Yeah.
And a lot of these developers I don't even know. I know Maximum Games publishes a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
THQ Nordic Games renamed themselves to THQ Nordic.
Yep.
I still want to know more about that, why they adopted the THQ name.
Well, and even Square Enix. I mean, think about what they can do.
Yeah, and they're on this list too, Square Enix.
Yeah, I mean, if you could, I'd love to play Tomb Raider. I just haven't had the time. But if I could play that on the go, that would be incredible to me.
Yeah, I'd love to see Rise of the Tomb Raider on the Switch.
Right.
Beautiful game. Cryoware, fantastic. I know they co-develop a lot of games.
Yeah.
They did the first Nier. Square Enix with Platinum Games are making Nier 2.
So,
My most anticipated game ever currently. With The Last Guardian.
Right.
Last Guardian Nier 2. I want right now.
if I could make that happen for you, I would.
I know you got connections, right? Come on.
Right.
Epic Games, Unity. This thing is compatible with Unreal Engine 4, so I imagine it would be compatible with Unity.
Yeah.
Especially since Unity almost kind of needs a revamping at this point. It's been going on for so long. Sega, Telltale Games, which I think will be almost the first time Telltale Games has made anything for a Nintendo console.
Yeah,
Because I don't think they made anything for the Wii U.
I don't think so.
So, I mean, great list of developers I got going on for this thing.
To start with, I think it's incredible. There's so many different developers out there with so many creative ideas, and you give some of these bigger companies the chance to develop for something unique that's going to be easy to develop for, easy to port their games over. Unlike the Wii U, I don't know. I really see good things in the future.
What we named off was only about 50% of that list.
Right.
There were ones on there I'd never even heard of.
Yeah.
There were a ton of Japanese ones, logos I couldn't even read on there.
And if they can figure out a way to make it backwards compatible with the 3DS games, then just gonna. I mean, that to me would seal it, where they just knock it out of the park, because the 3DS and DS games already have one of the largest libraries in gaming.
And they just released the new Nintendo 3DS not that long ago, and I believe they just released another one or another model of some sort in Japan not that long ago.
Right.
So it'd almost be kind of stupid for them to undercut their 3DS market so soon.
Right. Yeah.
But if it's backwards compatible with 3DS and all that, which what I was reading on, I believe Eurogamer, was a rumor that it wasn't backwards compatible.
Wasn't.
But
I mean, who knows?
Nintendo hasn't said anything. They haven't said price.
No. Well, and that's what's so much fun about this particular situation is that Nintendo, we knew that something was coming called that we all
NX.
had called the NX. They released one trailer, and they're not planning on releasing any more information for a year. Well, until next
till
year.
March.
Yeah.
I believe is when they said this thing was going to launch.
So,
March 2017.
So we're gonna be in the dark for several more months, just wondering what.
Yeah, Nintendo doesn't really do E3, and we're already past
Right.
E3. We're not having another E3
No.
till after the
Yeah.
Switch comes out. There's not really another opportunity for Nintendo to really come out and show us what the
Right.
Switch can do, because I
And
don't think Nintendo, what is it called? What do they call it? Nintendo Direct?
Yeah.
Or I don't think that's coming up anytime soon.
You know, and I think they throw those kind of sporadically. I don't think those are necessarily set. And that would be interesting to see. Is if we might have to get together again and do another one of these when they do announce more. If they do some sort of Nintendo Direct or something, because I would love to see what else they announce. Whether it is backwards compatible, whether you know, does the Pro Controller come with it? What's our price point going to be at? You know, I mean, if we're at that, I would even venture to say, you know, an iPad is what, $400 usually, $399.
I think so.
So I think if they get into that $299 area, I'm on board. You know,
$299, I would feel safe at, because I think the Wii U did that release at $299, or was
I
that
think it was.
Was it $399 and they bumped it down to $299?
I think it was $399, and it's made its way down to $299.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because depending on what cost-saving measures they use on this thing,
Right.
because if they can dumb down the resolution on the screen and have this Switch dock thing pump it
Yeah,
up and
if
you hook it up
that's
to the
right.
TV, depending on materials this thing's
Right.
made out of, I would think. I'm still thinking like the $300 to $400 range.
$400.
I would almost think $350, even though it's kind of an odd price point for a console. But I believe at some point, or at one point, Nintendo did have the Wii U down at like, I believe $250 for a little bit. So they're not, you know, strangers to coming
Right.
up with weird price points for their consoles.
Right.
Especially when I think the 2DS released it. Was it $199?
I think it was one. Was it one or was it $149? I think
It might have been $149.
Yeah, I think it was $149.
I mean, that alone in itself was kind of a weird price point.
Yeah.
Then I think they bumped it down even lower than that, and I think I saw
Yeah.
sales for it for like $75 at one point.
Yeah.
So I think it would be. Nintendo's not any stranger to that.
No, not at all. And you know, the Wii was a relatively inexpensive console, and it sold like crazy.
I think-
And
I remember when that thing came out; it was sold out everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think up to this point, one of the best-selling consoles, at least, and I think it
Yeah.
is the best-selling
Yeah, I
console
think
for
it is still
Nintendo.
the best-selling console made. I'm pretty sure, because I'm pretty sure it did over 120 million units.
I was still thinking it was the PlayStation 2 for some reason.
Was it?
was
And it
not
might
that
be.
much-
And if it
which-
is, it's not by much.
Yeah, it's not
You
by
know,
much, and the PlayStation 2's been out longer.
A lot
It
longer,
was
yeah.
out years long
Yeah,
before
yeah.
the Wii was.
And the PlayStation. Well, we won't get into that. We're not. You know, we're talking about the Switch, but I don't know. I think it's got a lot of potential, and I think the Nintendo crowd out there has greatly dissipated. But I don't think it'll be hard for them to capture that audience again with something that's as unique and yet so standard as the Switch.
Yeah, if Nintendo has anything, it's faith.
Yeah.
Even though they kind of didn't do so great with the Wii U, they've shown that they can
Yep.
continuously do great with their handheld market, and this is part of their handheld market, being like a tablet.
Right.
So I think they're gonna have some people who are a little standoffish,
Right.
but they're gonna have people who are gonna be extremely excited about what they're doing, because this
right.
is not just.
Right.
They're kind of combining their market that's not doing so great, but the Wii U did have some good things about it.
Right.
But they're also combining their market that had almost nothing but great things.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Nintendo knows what they're.
Yeah.
I think they know what they're doing, and plus they've been around for so long. They have the faith of a lot of companies.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Nintendo is gonna get a second chance.
Well, and that's what's so ironic to me is that, you know, in the game store here at Main Street Games, we sell all kinds of brand new games all the time, but still the thing that gets people most excited is when they come in and they see that old Nintendo game. You know, it's not the old Atari game, it's not the old Sega Genesis game, it's the old Nintendo games that they want to go back and play. So Nintendo has this identity in the industry as when I was playing PlayStation when I was a kid, I didn't say, hey, I'm going to go play my PlayStation. I said, I'm going to go play Nintendo, even though it was a PlayStation. And so they just have this.
Like Nintendo is a video game.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
exactly.
you can now people know what a PlayStation is.
Right.
But you go back then, people weren't really sure if that was a video game console or not.
Right.
I mean, because well, Sony owns PlayStation. And
Right.
Sony has their hands in so many markets that the Nintendo pretty much just does video games, and you know that when you get a Nintendo, you're going to be playing video games.
Right,
And Nintendo's the first console that really Nintendo saved video games from the market crash. I believe in the 80s, the early 80s. And so Nintendo single-handedly pulled out the gaming out of that, the stuff it was in, because of like companies like Atari who were just oversaturating the market with the 2600, the 5200, and the 7800, where it was just not really a step up. It was just them churning out the same stuff in order to sell a product. Yeah,
and yeah, I don't have anything to add to that. You nailed it. Yeah.
I think that pretty much sums up everything I had to say about the Switch. I don't really think. I am curious. When I saw the trailer, it had like the kind of like on the Wiimotes had the little square blue lights on it. So I wonder if this thing in some way is going to have some sort of motion thing going on.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd love to see them entertain the 6-axis technology that Sony uses. Yeah. You know, if you don't have to have some sort of light bar, which it doesn't really look like you have to, but are they actually using those controllers in motion? I don't think so. I think those controllers were designed specifically to be controllers, which is why both of them have joysticks, and they're much more conventional than like the Wii. So I don't know. I've got good vibes about it. I'm really excited for it. I'm excited to see them go back to something that's a little bit more standard.
They did make a sexy console. That thing was pretty. The Switch.
Oh, the Switch.
The Switch was I think very good looking.
Yeah.
Minimalistic design that I thought the thing was beautiful looking.
No, absolutely. Yeah, and if it could do everything that they showed in that trailer, I think it's going to just be awesome. Even if it has a few shortcomings, the ability to play multiple different ways with multiple different controllers, very enticing. The ability to just take the same device, plug it into a dock, and have it screen up to the TV, very enticing. The ability to system link between two of them, I mean, it's just an incredible concept with incredible technology that's going to bring people together to play games again, which is what I am so passionate about here. We're sitting at a table here because I
board games
push the board
everywhere.
games. Yeah, I love sitting at a table and playing with my friends. And if this is going to do that, give me that feel where I'm in that communal space as opposed to the ether. That is way more enticing to me. And I'm definitely going to be pushing the NX, not the NX. Well, yeah, I mean the Switch, because of the communal nature that it has the potential to be. Kind of back to the Wii, where it was get your friends come together and we'll play a game. The Wii U is just the opposite. It was the pure opposite of that, and it's not a great thing.
And their marketing for the Switch, it's already better. It's kind of cheesy as that trailer was, playing these guys playing basketball and then deciding, hey, let's play some NBA on the Switch, or playing it on the plane or at a rooftop party. Yeah. As ridiculous as that trailer was, it got the point across. Hey, this is a portable device as much as it is a sit at home, play on your TV device. Yeah. Which is a hell of a lot better than they did with the Wii U. They did terrible marketing with that thing.
Terrible.
Didn't really make sure that it was a separate thing from the Wii. Right. And I mean, they could have just added a 2 onto that instead of the Wii U.
They could have. I don't know. Sometimes those meetings they must have had in their naming conventions would be fun. Like, the Switch is an interesting name. I love their branding. Very cool.
They've gone very minimalistic these last few years.
It's very good, I think. Yeah. But the naming convention, not my favorite.
Yeah, they've never really been great on the naming thing. I mean, all their names have kind of
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, Nintendo. I mean, the NES was fine.
Right.
But then you had the Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo, yeah.
A little cheesy. I guess for
it
the
worked.
80s, it
Yeah,
worked.
the time it was right on.
N64, which kind of
64-bit era, so it's
yeah,
appropriate.
it worked. I don't really know if many people understood what the N64
Right.
what the
I know, I did
64
when I was a
meant,
kid.
but GameCube
Yeah.
made sense, but still,
Yeah. I think that's when it started going a little south.
yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, but MrManPacster, thank you
Oh, thank
for
you.
coming and having the conversation with me about this thing. Very excited about it, and I'm sure we'll talk again about it.
Oh yeah, we'll try to come back hopefully when Nintendo
Yeah.
releases more information about this because I want to know price point, screen resolution.
Yeah.
I mean, we know the chip that's inside of it, but we
Right.
don't know exactly how it's gonna
Work with
how
everything
the
else.
power is gonna work.
Mhm.
So I'm very curious. I got a lot more questions about this thing, but
And we will definitely be doing an unboxing.
oh yes, when he gets his, we're gonna unbox it right here.
At this very table.
I want to see how sexy that thing is, straight up, because I don't think it's gonna be something I'm gonna buy day one.
Yeah,
I think something I may wait on,
sure.
unless I get my hands on a demo or something
Right.
of was Breath of the Wild, the new Zelda game.
Yeah,
That may convince me
looks
to
pretty
buy
cool.
it day one.
yeah.
But I'm just right now kind of like Wii U. I had one. I was like, didn't really touch it.
Yeah.
I got it for Bayonetta 2, Hyrule Warriors. Didn't really play much after that.
Yeah. Well, you can sure check mine out.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be coming over here as soon as you get, whenever you start bringing your PlayStation VR in here. I gotta try that
That's
thing
it.
too. 'Cause
That's it. That thing's pretty cool as well. But that's for another conversation.
Yeah,
That's for another
I know,
conversation.
I've been wanting to try Batman VR so I can
Yeah.
play as Batman.
Yep.
Looks amazing. But thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back here in, oh god, who knows when.
Who knows when.
Nintendo weird when it comes to that.
That's
But
it.
I'll see if I can also sucker this guy into doing some videos about some E3 stuff.
That'd be cool.
Nintendo Directs.
Yeah.
Or I think Bethesda's even trying to do their own thing now, so I don't even know. Which, get on Bethesda. They're trying to get into the esports market
yeah.
with Doom and Quake.
And Quake, yeah.
So-
Quake looks like it's going to be incredible. So, any time, you just call.
Will do. I know you're a busy man.
Most days.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys hopefully here in a couple months.
Awesome. See you guys.